Another thing that I read quite recently was, and I thought this was also interesting in terms of a numbers. I'm quite a numbers person. Um, but did you read the post about I think it was like breakpoints and things like that. So, with a new update, everyone's getting new defences and whatnot. We've obviously got new archer towers, mortars, and bomb towers and whatnot, right? This update. But actually, someone worked out that the biggest influence on defence is none of those new defences, but actually the fact that the collectors had another level. Um, so it actually, I don't know if you read that. So somebody's taken a lot of all the numbers that have come out of, and actually the most powerful defensive gain from this update is not from the new levels of defense, but from the new levels of the collectors, because and this is something that I've talked to you before about how people underestimate, upgrading the collectors because they just go and raid for the resources, but actually upgrading your collectors
with hit points.
Yeah, for hit points. And actually not all the hit points are the same. For example, your Dark Elixir drill has a lot higher hit point than some other ones. So they're not all the same. And I knew that, but I hadn't actually thought, and I did have a feeling that this would be the effect, but I've not actually crunched all the numbers, whereas this guy did. But the fact that there's another level to your collectors, actually that difference meant cumulatively, once you add all that up, has a big impact, because a lot of these hybrid attacks and a lot of attacks these days have queen charge or queen whatever, right? But actually meant that your queen needed extra time to actually destroy the collectors. And at Town Hall 12 and at Town Hall 13, because there's so many stuff to tidy up, to clean up, you still only got 3 minutes. And the fact that your troops are taking longer to get rid of these collectors actually could mean timing out. And I thought that was actually quite interesting, actually, that the break point for, and he used the example of a queen, but it applies to, I guess, a lot of troops anyway. The fact that your queen would have to shoot it at extra time, and the fact that you've got about 10 elixirs or collectors or what have you, that's 10 extra, whatever shoots that you have to do. So, and that in the overall picture of things actually helps your defense more than a one-off building and their bump.
No, absolutely, yeah.
So I thought that was quite interesting, because it's actually caused the break point of it to tip. Whereas, because obviously it must have been at some point where a queen's shooting at something, it's going to take the same amount of time, regardless of what hit point it was. But actually, with this increase, it's now tipped over to another shot. So I thought that was quite interesting. It's quite a long read, and it's quite analytical, but it's quite interesting. The just point of that is that, and it's something that you and I have talked about, in that your collectors are actually quite, because there's a lot of them, it all counts. And particularly having those time fields, having cleanup, for example, having that one lonely archer picking off a collector, you need to set her down way quicker than you would perhaps.
Or even a minion that somebody refuses to upgrade before they go to the next town hall because they don't think it matters.
Something like that, for example. That's going to take them longer.
Yeah.
To get that 1%.
Yeah.
And wars
that could be the difference between dropping your minion down and giving a group of skellies, like air skellies, a chance to come all the way across the base to get your minion, because now it's taking more time for that minion, to get that storage. That could be the difference between a 3-star and a 2-star.
Yep. So I thought that was quite interesting. It's good to know that it was what I was thinking in terms of, where the defensive, where I'm putting all my builders are, or where they should be, and things like that. So it was quite an interesting read. And quite well thought out as well, because they're normally the forums in itself is like any other forums. Sometimes, about 9 times out of 10, it's full of crap. But you do get, some good nuggets of information. And I thought this week, the last few weeks have been particularly quite good with information, rather than chat.
Mm-hmm.
So I read that. That was quite interesting. And then I guess the other one, that I saw quite recently in the last couple of days was the chat that the lead developer guy I know did for a conference. I don't know if you've.
I didn't see that, no.
So he gave a chat to a game developer conference. I think he'd been asked to sort of present at this conference because I think with Supercell releasing the Gold Pass meant like rocket in and how much the company was worth. Basically, it was a very profitable move. So at this conference where game developers get together, they talk about what the future of gaming development and new things and things to consider, things like that. So he was asked to give a presentation about how they went about doing the Gold Pass. And it was quite. I mean, it's not like here's all the new stuff, and there's no like leaks or anything. It was very much. I enjoyed it because I quite like getting thinking about the numbers, thinking about what people think of how you develop something. I quite like the analysis behind it all, so it's quite interesting to me. Your average run of the mill gamer might be like, yeah, okay, fine. I don't get anything good from there, but for me, it was quite nerdy. I quite liked it. Um, but he was talking about how they had a 2-year plan, so maybe this whole bug fix was part of a 2-year plan. Goodness knows it took 2.5 years to fix it. But yeah, they were talking about a 2-year plan, about how everything's trying that they released from that point was working up to this point of releasing this gold pass. But they couldn't just release the gold pass and have it be successful without addressing what was the things that they were addressing. There were people not moving up in the game, staying at 10 on 9 and 10. It was the long upgrade times, and people just not. It's, like, compared to a 10 on 7 to a 10 on 13, the times to upgrade things were ridiculously long as you upgrade. And then I think was the resources or something like that. I can't remember, but there was 2, 3, 4 things about that they needed to fix before they could release the pass. Because they don't believe that if they just released the pass without these fixes, it would have been as successful. So it was things that we've talked about before about how we're seeing a lot of them introducing the magic items to sort of increase people upgrading their town halls and things like that. The cost and the time it took was prohibitive. And that's what the magic items were trying to solve to get people to upgrade faster. Also, there was no end game content and things like the leagues and things. What was it? What else did they talk about? It was quite interesting. Trying to remember the key points there, but they were talking about how, because I think the game had been in a lull and that's why they introduced these things to try and get more people to start playing again. So Battle Pass. They didn't want to have a new town hall, but they ended up doing a new town hall because they needed new content, and they thought, well, why change something that works? Let's create a new town hall, and that's where you got the new town hall for the end game players, because they were saying that obviously people were going through the new content just really much too quickly. That'll be your pay to win kind of players, just dropping the update and then just dropping all the new things in one go. So yeah, and ultimately that with all these things sort of fixed, that meant that when they released the gold pass, it was more successful. The thing that I found interesting was he gave a few sort of facts as to its impact, and again we're getting into the geeky numbers part, but he was saying that actually 70% of people that pay for the gold pass then buy it again the next month. So that, I thought that was quite interesting.
That's a pretty high percentage.
Exactly. And also, it was like there was a bump of like 75% in revenue just when they released this. That's a lot or something. So I would have thought that was quite a lot. Unfortunately, you and I are part of that 70% because we buy the pass each month. So
you don't know. You don't know.
I think they're relying on the OCD of people who I need to buy it because I need to have this one skin. But yeah, so 70% is quite a big sort of retention, recurring sort of income for them. And that's quite a lot of people when you think about it. But also, I think one of the impacts also was they went, obviously at the start of the 2-year plan, the proportions of, I think they split it by town halls, right? So basically the top 2 town halls were all like 10% each, and then like 8s and 9s and 10s or something like that. I mean, they had like 40 odd percent of their people would just stayed at town hall 9 because that was the thing where everyone was like town hall 9 forever kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, but then after they released all these things at the end of that 2 years, the split between town hall 9, town hall 10, town hall 11, and 12, I think. It only went up to 11 at that point, I think. It was more 30, 30, 30. So it was quite interesting to show that they were successful in moving people up town halls, and actually the split between the higher town halls are more equal now. So that was quite nerdy and quite interesting.
I think a lot of that might have had to do with the way that they redesigned Legends as well. Because I know, like, a lot of people stayed Town Hall 9 and pushed at Town Hall 9. Like, not a lot, but I mean, there were people that specifically stayed at Town Hall 9, Town Hall 10 to push to kind of have that, or even Town Hall 8 just to kind of have that, I've been to Legends as this and I'm staying this. But when they changed the way that Legends worked, I think a lot of those people either, quit the game as well or decided, well, there's nothing for me to do now because of the way they've changed the game, so I may as well just go up.
Yeah, no. So it was a very technical kind of analytical kind of presentation, but I quite enjoyed it. It's about an hour long though, so but also I was interested to know that the season pass. So they put a lot of thought into the season pass and how to build it. And they basically had to make sure that everyone, regardless of town hall, would always max it out. So, and I think, is it 250 or something like that, is normally the points that you need to get the end of the I guess, road to get the last reward. I think it's 2,500 points.
20.
Yeah, so something like that. But they always make sure that there's at least like around 5,000 game points available, because they're trying to account for the fact that some people can't do certain challenges, but they always make sure that everyone can reach the end. So I thought that was quite interesting, because I'm thinking, what happens if someone who doesn't play Builder Base, can they reach the end? How does a 10L7, is it 10L7 when you start to get it? What challenges can they do that are they going to be able to get to the end? So they thought about it a bit. I don't know if a 10L7 doesn't play Builder Base, if they're able to reach the end, to be sure. But
I think just because you get 60 points in a day, right? If you're just getting a star in each and then donating. So, there's, 30 days in a month? So that's 3,000 points right there.
Yeah, but I guess if you don't play Builder Base, that's minus 20. I guess.
You don't even have to be playing Builder Base, a lot. But just even to get a star, doing that one attack, and then 40 times 30 days is still 2,000. So then within that month, you've got to do 600 in those challenges. So it would be possible. Yeah. It's just you would have to play every single day.
I wonder though. I wonder if you were Town Hall 7 and not in the clan and not playing Build a Base, you're just playing Town Hall 7 by yourself, like a loner, would you be able to reach the end?
I don't know.
But it was good.
Let me test it out.
No. But I think it's I thought it was good that they actually thought about those things, and it was interesting to see what kind of things they think about.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's where the sort of positive peak came about, because I'm like, oh, it's good that they actually think about these things. Think about, it's not just the higher towns, it's the lower town halls. It's good that they thought about these things, and then they come up with this stupid bug fix, and I'm like, well, clearly they didn't think about it too much. But the presentation was interesting watch, and then he did a quick Q&A afterwards, a follow-up video, and what was the thing that he said that was interesting at that time? I can't remember now, but it was something like, he said that he thought that the Blue Sky operation fixing Legend League was a success, because there's now more than double or something like that people playing Legends than there was before.
Because they don't have to sit in the class. They don't have to sit and wait for a base. They know, okay, I've got my 8 attacks. I can do them.
Yeah. I think. Oh no, the interesting thing was that it wasn't an admission, but they kind of alluded to the fact that actually, Build a Base was not as success as they thought it would be. I thought that was quite interesting, because he did say that people that after the Build a Base update dropped, people that came back, people always come back once an update drops, right? But for that particular update, the people that came back, they didn't stay long again afterwards. So I think he sort of roundabout way acknowledged that Build a Base wasn't what they thought it would be, but also the fact that it was interesting to know that people didn't come for Build a Base and stay for Build a Base. But I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, Builder Base just... I mean, the only reason that I've been playing Builder Base is because the challenges in clan games are easy. Like, I have no use for Builder Base whatsoever. Like, I don't like playing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can definitely understand.
Okay. So that's why it's been up and down for me and my thoughts about Supercell. Some good information there, and actually the forums were quite interesting to read in those few days.
What do you think? There was a post about I don't know where they're going with this, but just a contest or something to design a set of hero skins. What did you think about that?
So I mean, what's it Darren said? He's trying to get the forums to be more active or something. I don't know, but it's I think in the past
they used to now. They should find more bugs. They'll see how active it gets.
They used to have these sort of polls, I guess, weekly, monthly polls or something like that, and they're trying to get back into that, I think, and that's why they're releasing these sort of poll question type things. I don't know if, apart from me thinking they're just for fun, I don't think they're generally saying, they might pick up, okay, depending on who votes for what is the most popular, they might make a note of it and put it away for some other reason. But I don't think there's an underlying reason for these polls other than to sort of try and get back some of that community feeling of, we used to have these and they were quite funny and engaging.
There was a couple polls on there about, things that people would like to see introduced into the games, and some of the ideas were okay, and some of them were just downright stupid. It's just like, if somebody votes for that and then it's put in the game, I'm going to be pissed off.
I think generally it's for a bit of fun, more than anything else. Obviously, the people in the forums are only a small percentage of the population, which is why I'm thinking with this bug, sure, people that visit the forum might know about the bug and use it to their non-advantage, shall we say. But they could have just put it in the clan game rewards announcements to say,
or just something. I mean, they know about it now. Like, what is it to do? Like a 10-minute maintenance or whatever. Put it, in the update or like just somewhere to make everyone aware that it's happened. I mean, obviously it was a big miss in the release notes when they did the update, and
I don't think they appreciated how big a miss it was.
They should have done. I mean, even now they should do something. I mean, because how many people have been outraged and gone on to forums or wherever? I mean, as soon as the first person did, they could have been like, "Yeah, that's a big miss. Like, let's." But no, like they didn't do that. They expect everybody to go to the forums, and then you get people repeating it on the forums because they don't know to look in in specific places, and then they get trashed at because they're repeating what everybody's been saying for the last 2 days. So it's just like it was handled very poorly.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. That's all I have to say to it. So those are the interesting things that I've read on the forum lately. Have you read anything interesting?
I try to stay out of the forums because it just gets me posting things and I don't think about what I'm posting sometimes. So I try and stay out of the forums. But I did, like the clan games thing did annoy me. I wanted to know what was up. And so that's when, like I said, I created my own post and it got posted into the clan games, and then that's when I read it. So that way. And then I only read the other head. Like I only ever read the headings if it's not something that, interests me, then I don't really read into it. And all I read, like there's 6 of them that are posted at the top in the forums right now. And I just kind of, like I said, the ideas was one, and the skins and whatnot. And
do you have any ideas for what kind of skin collection you would want?
I was thinking, I mean, me just loving, vampires and zombies and that kind of whole world, I was thinking, they could do some kind of theme like that. And so...
What, you mean undead heroes?
Yeah, like some kind of an undead theme. And somebody had mentioned, a zombie theme, and then, done whatever.
There's already the Skeleton King.
Yeah, it's not really zombie, though. I mean, zombie, I think, blood, gore, guts, eyes,
yeah, for a kid's game. Although technically you're supposed to be over however many years, but...
Yeah, so yeah.
Do you think that would fit the theme of, fantasy and whatnot? Because we've got baby dragons that are cutesy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not creative. I'm a numbers person, so and that's why I like reading posts like what I've just mentioned. But I don't really have. You'll have to ask me again next time, and then I'll see if I come up with something. Because I haven't thought about it because I don't wear them. I don't put them on my heroes, so I'm not. I don't care enough. Essentially. But yeah. Okay.
I mean, a new hero skin, I mean, it's one of the easiest things you could, I mean, pick any, small holiday, and, you've got how many different things that you can do in a theme like that, and...
Yeah,
I mean,
holidays tend to be country specific though, or...
What's that?
Holidays tend to be, like, country specific, or
yeah,
they're very specific to certain people or places. So you need something that's worldwide. And I don't think a zombie one would be so great in times like these. Alright, so Clan Wars. How have our wars been?
Well, we've had a couple tough matches. After our winning streak ended, like we had that tie.
Yes, it was like 0.07%, was it?
What was that?
We lost it by 0.07%.
0.06, like, yeah. And then, yeah, we had 3 wins after the tie, and then we lost a war by 0.06. So we needed 0.07%, to win that war, and that was a tough one. I know, just for me personally too, just mentally from the get-go, the war plan and who was in, and even just my attack, knowing that a 2-star would have won it for us, and still trying to go for 3 and not getting the town hall was just, it was a bad decision, a poor decision, and one that I wish
it had to happen at some point. My attack, I could have easily got that 0.07 or 0.7%.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but in wars, I mean, when you and I are able to back each other up, it's, one of us attacks for, the solid 2 high percent, so the other one can go for the 3. And because you had already attacked and only gotten 1 star, I should have, right away secure the 2-star, get that star, because that's what's going to win us the war. And even at that point, I knew that getting that star would win the war, because I knew that you would be able to get 2 on number 1 and not need any percent, because we would have won outright by stars. So for me, that mistake, it was tough to swallow, and I've tried not let it bug me and think about it, but I mean, it's hard not to, because that was a war where it was in my hands, and I kind of threw it away because all I needed was the town hall. And I mean, I know that, nobody loses a war, nobody wins a war, but it was just, I felt more that it was my fault, that one, because I knew what we needed and I didn't get it.
Well, I mean, it's
intentionally,
but at the same time, when you come out of attack and you've got a rage spell unused, I think a part of the blame can be on me as well. I told you at any point, it doesn't matter where I even used that rage. If I had used that rage, I'd have gotten an extra percent, no problem. So it's not just all on you.
No, but yeah.
But I just don't see it, because they just refuse to give us a way that we can have, know that there's things still left, because I don't use the...
It would be easily fixed as soon as you're done using the troop. Get it out of the scroll bar.
Yeah, because I don't use the 2-tier or whatever the fix that they've allowed to sort of let you see everything. I don't use that, so I do actually have to scroll before I see what I can use, so I missed the rage there. But in terms of our warlog, I feel like we are kind of in a lull now that we've been winning a lot. We've kind of been losing a lot too. Well, is this a start? Do you feel that this is a start of losing a lot? I don't necessarily...
I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but it kind of started happening once that Town Hall 10 returned in our clan. So, I mean, if anything, we can just blame it on her, because, she came back and then it's just like, oh my goodness, red. But it's not like... The wars that we've lost, it's not like... And I mean, don't get me wrong, a couple of the wars, I've had to hit a 10. I've hit a Town Hall 9 because there hasn't been the cleanup lower, because we haven't had town halls. It just seemed like in those wars, when somebody struggled, everybody struggled at the same time.
And that's what you never need. You want that.
I was able to back up on certain, bases and whatnot, and it was just... It was tough, because, though that's, where you win or lose a war, so those close ones, it hurts just that much more, because, well, if, the 9s could have, gotten better than 2 out of 8, maybe we would have had that 0.06%. Like, it's just, so, I mean, it's not like we're losing by a star. Every war that we've lost, we've tied on stars, just come up short on percent.
No, because I noticed this as well, that all but so we only have 5 reds in our log now, and 4 out those 5s reds we've tied each time, and it's only percent that we lose it on.
And I mean, now that you're mentioning that, one of them was exactly 1%, one of them was 2%, and 2 of them were less than 1%.
So it's not even we're not losing by much.
No.
Yeah. It doesn't make us any less winners, you know.
And I mean, sometimes that's even harder to swallow. Is the close ones like that, because
we're still
you're like,
losers.
if I
We're
just
still
would have
losers.
dropped that rage, if I would have done this, you know, it would have been that. But I mean,
There's still losses, and there's still, you know, we did still lose.
yeah.
But I'd rather lose closely than getting our heads kicked in. Just
Unfairly, I think that
unfairly, which I don't think the last.
I think one of those wars, it was a little bit mismatched, and I mean, even this war too, they did have 2 engineers, but they,
I think that this one was heavily skewed in their favor. Like, they clearly engineered hard, right? We had 10 Hall 11s with no Eagle, with no Inferno.
Expos and no expos.
So
it was nothing.
they engineered hard, even though they said they're they say they're fair play community war clan, right? But through 11.5s, that's what they were doing. So I don't really like cores like that, because they clearly are just trying to engineer a better matchup for them. I think it's a credit to our clan that we actually ended up giving them a run for their money, and they actually had fewer attacks than they thought they might have to hit me and you, the top 2. And I thought that was better than nothing. The fact that they didn't just have a bajillion, they didn't hit your eye about 5-6 times because before hitting, because they ran out of attacks. And I thought that's quite good. But yeah, they were heavily engineered. But we gave them a run for their money, I think.
Yeah, and now we're having trouble finding one.
Yeah, it's been that way a bit. I think a lot of our 9s are out, aren't they?
Yeah.
Getting ready for leagues. But hopefully, sometimes it matches quickly, sometimes it doesn't, and you never know what you're going to get.
Well, I mean, we both know that it's just whoever's searching at the same time, and...
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do we have anything else that we said to talk about, or we...
I think that was it, and then it was just kind of things that are going on in the clan right now.
Yep. We've got a few town halls that are ready to... Well, they say they're ready to move, but you and I have time.
We've got one town hall 8 that wanted to go last leagues. I said, I didn't sugarcoat it. I said, you're not ready. I said, it's a stupid decision. I said, you'll fail as a Town Hall 9. I wasn't very nice about it. So he waited. He did say that he would be going this league's then. He did get up some of his troops. He got up his hogs. He tried using them, failed miserably, but thinks he's ready for Town Hall 9. Has no clue what army he's going to use. He wants to use Witch Slap. I said, okay. I said, but in the meantime, before you can get your witches upgraded, your witches even unlocked, your healers upgraded, your queen, which all is needed for Witch Slap, I said, you're going to have to be in war, and you're going to have to use something. And he kind of, and I mean, it's just, you should be thinking, I think you should be thinking of the next town hall before you even go to the next town hall, because, you don't want to fail. And I mean, because we know that Town Hall 9 is the make or break one, where you either flake out or you survive. And even some of the 9s that we have now that upgraded in the clan, I really don't think they're going to make it. Because
some of them have stayed constantly upgrading their heroes, but then, yes, your heroes are getting stronger, but I don't... Unfortunately, their skill level hasn't upgraded as well. They haven't got... Because when you have heroes constantly upgraded, you don't have them to practice with. So...
Yeah. And I know of one, I mean, we've got one Town Hall 9 that's maxed that is going to be going to Town Hall 10 any day now because he's probably bored out of his mind. We've got another Town Hall 9 who's had heroes down constantly, wars once and then puts another hero down. He's got 28 heroes, has got another one down right now. So, and he's already talked about going to Town Hall 10 as soon as he's maxed. So that's that one. We've got another one that is 25 heroes. Both heroes are down. Already talking about going to Town Hall 10 as well as soon as his heroes are maxed. And it's just like nobody wants to refine their skills anymore. It's just, I'm maxed, I'm going. Give me the new tool.
You know, that's what Supercell wants you to do because they've given you all these extra bonuses to quickly progress. But like I said to you before this, I got them in the door as 8s. They're now 9s. You're getting them in. You get them through to 10. So I'm keeping my end of the bargain. Now it's your turn to
start filling back up the 8s then, because we're going to be losing a bunch of 9s.
No, but even because they'll be hitting 10s, and you need to impart your expertise on how to not flake out and suck at 10.
You could just make a Town Hall 10 and bring it in and show them how to do it. It'd be a lot easier than trying to teach them and struggle going through how to do things when you can just like watch this replay and learn.
But yeah, no, so I mean I guess our plan is working enough for it. But yeah, we're gonna the next month or two I think people will be upgrading and we'll get to see whether people have patience or not to grind through early Town Hall days, which everyone knows is just rough. You know, you're not getting as much loot as you normally do. Got a crap ton of things to upgrade. You've got so many combos now that you don't even know where to start.
I've definitely noticed it at Town Hall 12 because I know that I've said in the past that, you know, I've got time to raid, it's nothing for me to raid and get the resources, but I've noticed, I mean, I don't do my heroes because I want to be in war, so for me, you know, getting elixir, getting dark elixir, it's, you know, I get it when I get it, but even gold, like to upgrade, like when things cost 10, 12 million to upgrade, I mean, it's a lot to get. So I've definitely noticed that now.
Yeah, well, you're not going to Town Hall 13 anytime soon, so you've got time. So, yeah, but we'll see. We see who survives new Town Hall days. But
I don't think I could handle Town Hall 13 yet, just because I know that I can get better at Town Hall 12, and that 4th hero is definitely going to change things for me. So I mean, I know that I can look at a base and say, okay, this is the attack that I want to do and have success with it. Because, I mean, I know that my, you know, ideas can also flop and, you know, I can lose my queen right away and then not get to see if that attack would have worked. But I know that 4th hero is going to take getting used to for me. And I don't even have to be Town Hall 13 to know that. I know the way that I play and I know the way that I, you know, put troops down and whatnot, and I know that 4th hero will be an adjustment. I mean, the Warden was an adjustment, so I know that the Royal Champ would be an adjustment. Huge one for me.
But you seem to be in the minority whereby you've actually thought about this, rather than, oh, there's a new hero, and oh, there's new troops that I can use. I want the new toys. So...
Well, I already have the new troop. It's just the hero. And like I said, the hero is just, I mean, to get, you know, what is it, 5 of the king and queen and then 10 of the warden, I mean, that's the regular, but I mean, 20 of the hero, and then, I mean, she's strong, but it's another thing that you have to drop, and you have to worry about working with the rest of your army. Meanwhile, you're dropping that, you still have to watch the other ones and see what they're doing, and like it's all about timing. And
yeah, just wait until you see all our Town Hall 8s getting the Town Hall 9 queen, and then it's like, oh, I totally don't actually know how to attack anymore.
Well, and what frustrates me about that is they ask, well, what's good at this Town Hall level? It's like, seriously? Like, you have how many Town Hall 9s in your clan? Like, are you not watching what they're using and being successful with?
They don't. That's the answer. They don't.
It frustrates me that they're not watching, that they're not looking, that they even ask such a stupid question. And one of these days, I'm going to lose my mind and say, "Are you asking me a stupid question like this? Because I'll give you a stupid answer."
Is that your cat's like stupid?
It might be, because it's just. I mean, some of these people aren't even new in the clan. Like, they've been through leagues with us already. So they've been a month in the clan. It's just like, you know what? And that's what I say. It's like, this person uses this army in leagues. Watch this attack. I've always said that. Watch this attack. Go into the warlock. Watch our attacks. And to have somebody that's been in the clan for that long, or possibly even longer, say, well, I don't know what army is good. Like, it's like, what are you even doing? Like, are you paying attention to anything? And it's frustrating. And it's those ones that are going to fail. And I mean, a prime example is the Town Hall 9 that came into the clan as a Town Hall 8, went to Town Hall 9, still has, like, not even a 10 queen yet, hasn't even upgraded healers, hasn't upgraded witches, and uses Witch Slap as an army, hasn't upgraded a single troop. And it's just like, what have you been doing? And then wonders, like, and then asks, well, what did I do? Like, could you see anything I did wrong with this attack? It's like, no, it's fine. Just upgrade your stuff. Like, what have you been doing for the last month and a half?
I don't think that person has 5 builders, though. Oh, you mean like your labs and stuff?
You need 5 builders to upgrade your witches.
Well, you need the Dark Elixir. He's probably not very active.
So use and I finally today I said use an appropriate army. Like, if you're needing Dark Elixir to upgrade your witches, your healers, your whatevers, your war army, I said use an army that uses regular elixir. If you need regular elixir, use a dark army. Like, it's not rocket science.
Well,
it's really not.
It might be for some people.
I have no super troops unlocked right now, so I'm thinking goblins probably. Because my wall breakers, I can't use those for another 4 days. So I'm thinking.
Well, you don't need. I mean, if you don't use them, don't sink your Dark Elixir in them.
I used them one war. I think 2 wars. I took a super wall breaker. I ended up. I had my plan. I was going to use a super wall breaker to get my queen in. I had my plan. And then all of a sudden, I was going to use the siege barracks down at 6 o'clock. All of a sudden, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I'm like, oh, I got to get my queen in. Switched to a siege machine, threw it down, and then I looked down. Oh, that's where my wall breaker was supposed to go, not the wall wrecker, because and it was from there. It was just like, no. So I don't know if I'm going to take wall breakers in my armies anymore, just because. And I mean, but I do, because the queen charge that I want to be working with involves wall breakers. So, I don't know.
But, you could save that DE and upgrade a hero.
The super ones are good, but because you need to use a rage on your queen to keep her alive in most of those situations, when you're doing a charge, 1 wall breaker in rage will bust open a wall. So that's 2 spaces as opposed to 8. Yes, you have to time the wall breaker because it's not going to survive as much as the super wall breaker, but I don't know. It's just a trial and error thing, I guess.
I've got the goblins. Like, I put the Dark Elixir in there, but I've not used them at all. Because, I'm only using the super troops as a DE sink. I don't need the DE, so I put it in there to prevent other people stealing. Because I'm selfish like that. But yeah, so I think that's the balance. People on the lower town halls or people that have lower heroes are like, oh, it's too expensive, and yeah, but I think, are you actually going to use them? Don't use them if you don't. But I mean, and I think that is what Supercell wanted, for you to choose. If you need the DE for your hero upgrade, or do you need it for super troop? And then because I think this purposely said, in fact, I think he did say, he purposely said that the super troops were a sink for DE for the max deck players to put And that's why it costs that much. It's just so that maxed out players can put that much Dark Elixir and get rid of it, really.
Do you know what will help get rid of Dark Elixir for higher town halls? Putting in some kind of thing in the clan games where you can spend DE to get rid of a stupid challenge.
But then...
That would make my day. I would not feel bad about spending Dark Elixir that way.
But then there'd be uproar about that because not everyone gets enough Dark Elixir. And, you know.
They can fart. They can fart. They can play the game the way the game was intended to be played.
I think I can safely say that that's not going to happen.
No.
But we can all but wish. Okay, coming up to quite a long time.
Did you have a Can't Fix Stupid, or...?
Well, I think you already mentioned that one, so I'll save the other one for next time. I'll let you wrap up.
Yeah, so we will end it here today, and next one we'll probably...
On the next one, we're going to reach a landmark. And normally when we have a landmark, we normally celebrate that landmark.
What are we going to reach?
Our clan is going to level up in the next war.
Is it really?
Yep.
Do we get a new shield?
No.
Is 17? No. 17's not.
But we do level up. And normally that's the time when I think, okay, it'd be good to have another co.
Yeah.
So maybe we can talk about what goes into that.
What goes into what?
Well, just we can have a discussion next time.
Oh, yeah. What our criteria is for co. Then?
Well, and also if there's any that are actually, showing those signs, we're gonna have a little discussion.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out, and if you were gonna, who would you? Then we can have a talk.
So we will talk about that next, and I think by the time we do another one, we'll have leagues to talk about and the end of clan games and see if they've put out any changes for the next one, if they're going to release anything, or they're just going to let us stew until the next one starts and see how our war log turns out for the next week or so and go from there. So until then, we will say goodbye.
Bye.